Some guys really like Batman, and they had an epiphany. So they all got to work on the next Batman movie. And now they are the heroes, and you get to follow along. They're bringing him to life every week after this song. Batman, Project Batman, Project Batman. Fuck yeah!
Alright, so what we're here to do today, or what we're attempting to do, I don't know how this is going to go, but we said last week that we would go through one of the two feature-length animated series movies and dissect it and try to break it down and figure out where acts end. And the way we're defining act as is when a character makes a decision that they can no longer go back from, so we can align it with what we're trying to do. So here with me, again, I'm Ken.
I'm Otto.
I don't know if you're close enough or loud enough. If you're gonna,
I'm Otto.
okay, sorry, I'm not trying to be annoying. And
I'm Ken.
you son of a bitch. Fellow podcaster / friend of...
Not that good of a friend.
Apparently.
Christian Cook is here.
Hey,
That's him.
I said I was Ken.
And
I'm either Kenneth or Allison Brie. Those are your choices.
and that is Sean.
Yes.
Oh, I was saying the other voice was you.
Voice?
Now you ruined it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's like, that's Sean. Oh, yeah, yes, I'm Sean.
And Sean's here with a guest appearance with Little Madison. So, do you guys want to watch it quietly and talk over it since we all know it and have seen it? Or do you want to watch it and really watch it, and when we have something to say, pause it and then discuss it? How do you guys want to do that?
I vote for that first thing,
Yeah,
but
here.
with captions.
And we're back.
You're back.
Alright, we just started it. If anybody wants to try to follow along, Bugs just popped out of the Warner Family Entertainment logo. Fade to black, here we go. And I will remind you guys, since there's other sound going on, even though we have subtitles, if you're going to say something, to lean into here.
Okay.
And let's try to, since we're leaving this on the whole time and make it a commentary, let's try to continually be speaking about something, since we know the movie.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, right now we're watching the epic opening credits that are always really exciting.
You, Sean, get to work on coming up with ideas for our opening credit sequence. I had some ideas, but you're lead animator, so...
Well, what had you come up with?
I came up with something like you sort of have silhouettes of the characters, with like just black silhouettes with like colored backgrounds. So you'd have like Batman, and then like a blue background, and then Ra's al Ghul, and then like a green background, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it makes sense.
As it's going through, and then have like all sorts of neat little zooms and camera pans. Shouldn't be too difficult, and should look nice and professional.
Yeah.
Like I know with Return of the Joker, which we'll end up watching next. Stop that. But I like this opening shot here. Is big
So do I,
Gotham
yeah.
City. But they but like with Batman, with Return of the Joker, they put the opening credit sequence was done like a day before the film was due, and they did it on the computer in like 2 hours.
That's pretty nuts.
But it's just simple text floating in black, and I want something a little more substantial than that.
Yeah.
I love how we usually walk in on Batman at the beginning of a plot with nameless baddies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is how Otto, as you've had it planned out with the bank robbery and then ending it with the same guy, he's still pretty much like... I mean, we get a name because of the news report, and we get a sense that it's the same guy, but he's not a big, important character.
Right, he's just sort of, like, he steps on the table to knock him out the rest of the way.
So how many acts do you guys think these Batman movies generally are? Because, I mean, we're dealing with a character that everyone's already familiar with, and maybe they don't need to establish as much. Mm-hmm. Plus, the average movie is about 2 hours long, and these are about 75 minutes. 75 to 80, so...
Everything except the Nolan films worked on the 3-act structure. The Nolan films worked on his weird, I don't know how story works structure. 4.5 acts, I don't know. 5.5 if it's Inception, I don't know.
Well, we're going on the rule that, like... There's no certain...
Careful, she's going to knock right into that table.
There's no certain amount of acts that a story needs. It's just whatever's appropriate for the story you're trying to tell. With, like, the point we made last time is that a movie like Malcolm X has 9 acts, but it works because that's what it calls for.
Well, yeah, so the length works, too.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely Dark Knight Rises for 45 acts.
Yeah,
well,
just about.
But then again, the problem with not understanding act structure is you only need as many acts as it takes to tell your story. The problem with the Nolan Batman films is he doesn't seem to know he seems to be finding the story where he goes. Like he seems to be finding it as we go along throughout the movie. But also, there's parts of that film that don't need to exist. And the fact that the third film he did wasn't a Batman movie just kind of, Batman doesn't run away, everyone. He doesn't go to Paris and be with Catwoman. It's just not how it works. He dies because he's a hero.
But then again, now, I don't know if you guys heard, but Nolan is now in charge of the Justice League movies, and Christian Bale said that the only way he would ever come back as Batman is if Nolan was involved and he had a good script. And Nolan's not directing it, but he's producing it now since he just produced the Superman movie. So maybe Batman retired in The Dark Knight Rises and still could come back in that universe of film. Which would be kind of neat. But either way, we're talking about the DC animated universe right now.
Yeah, it's always been very interesting to me, this period in the 1990s where we have a cartoon for children, specifically targeted at children, that not only pulled in such an adult audience, but also first 5 minutes of this movie, we have not only crime guys shooting guns at each other, trying to kill each other. We have the police commissioner talking about police business. We have a district attorney having discussions with the press. It's a cartoon that works like a police procedural, and you just don't see that much anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like big, epic sets. If you're looking right now, this office is ginormous and detailed, and we need that.
And when it makes things seem otherworldly, it doesn't go too far into it. Like, we just saw like a seemingly supernatural bad guy in a crazy costume, but it didn't. I like how it doesn't make anything seem out of the realm of reality, at least in this world that's presented to us.
Yeah.
Gotham has such a history of it at this point that the architecture, the buildings, everything in it doesn't need to be explained because there's a reason for it at this point.
Right.
I mean, originally, yes, it was based on New York City. Gotham is a nickname for New York. But Gotham has turned into this, like you said, otherworldly thing that, like, I love it when the DC universe, when they're in an airport or something, and you'll see a big sign that says, New York, Gotham, Silver City, all like the fake Metropolis, all the fake DC cities mixed in with all the real universes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're still in the first act, you guys would agree, at this point. Bruce doesn't even know anything's really going on, except he's trying to figure out the shit that happened in the beginning. Right?
No, indeed, he's still investigating the crime, the mob's money laundering scheme.
The subtitles are off again.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, they are.
Definitely.
Maybe we should pause it and
But
fix them.
Do you want to turn them off?
Yeah, I'd say just turn them off.
Okay.
Because, I mean, Because I know.
Well, it's going to throw us off more than it's going to help at this point.
Right.
Exactly.
It's going to be under video. You're going to disable the audio.
Okay, so we may not have as exact a grasp on exactly what they're saying, but we know the story and can talk about it here.
Kevin Conroy has never read a Batman comic.
Isn't that insane?
That's so insane.
That is nuts.
But it sort of makes sense. Like, he approaches it as an actor, the art of acting, instead of like just being a geek and being like, oh, I'm gonna throw myself into this because I already love it. Mm-hmm. Like, he approaches it as an art.
Well, and Mark Hamill has gone on to say publicly that he needs to be included on the list with Adam West and who was the most recent all the great Batmans. He needs to be put on that list because he to our generation at least is one of the definitive Batmans.
Yeah,
that voice. I mean, that's why he's in Arkham City as a voice. It's.
I mean, he's always been my favorite Batman. I think he's always given the greatest depth to the character.
And as it should be with comics, it doesn't matter what he looks like. It matters what he sounds like.
Right.
When it comes down to animation, I don't like Billy West looks like nothing, but he does some of the best voices ever. Mm-hmm. So, and well, Conroy's not a tiny guy by any shot. He's got the body to back up the voice, but just the fact that he doesn't care. He's just an actor doing a role. Seriously.
Completely off topic.
Well, wait, can I stay on topic for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about the magic of Kevin Conroy right now. And this is going to be off of topic from what you guys are listening to right now. It's fine, dude, just do it. What you guys are listening to just now, and this will have happened a few weeks ago, but as of right now of the recording, yesterday, a big thing went down online with Veronica Mars. And so
I saw something about
Veronica Mars. Veronica Mars is a show that has become part of. It's become like part of cult, like geek fandom, and it had 3 seasons and then got canceled, and it never went out on a note of completion. Like, it never like had any resolution to anything. They set up like all these new storylines, and then holy shit, we got canceled. And for years, all these like Veronica Mars geeks have been like, oh my god, I just want more. And Kristen Bell and Rob Thomas, the creator of it, have been wanting to do it and have had ideas for a long time. And Warner Brothers wouldn't get behind wouldn't get behind giving them a movie to finish wrapping it up. So they said if they could raise $2 million to get it started, then Warner Brothers will do the rest. So they thought it was a long shot that they would.
I just read that. Didn't it make it like 11 hours?
Yeah, exactly. Like, they thought maybe we might get close within 30 days. We'll give it a shot. They got halfway there within 2 hours.
My God.
Within 11 hours, they had all $2 million. So, in this age where geeks are stoked about things they want to see and will contribute money to make something happen, my crazy dream in all of this, which I'm not guaranteeing at all will happen, but in the weeks/months coming of us working on this project and what it looks like so far of gaining popularity from strangers, I'm hoping that over the next few months we get enough geeks out there that will be excited about this movie that we're creating, that what if it's not out of the question that we could maybe start a Kickstarter if enough people got excited enough about this to be able to pay Kevin Conroy to be our Batman.
That would be fantastic. I like it. And I'm sure he'd be willing to do it.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Dude works wage.
I mean, yeah, this is the universe, and I say out of anyone we need an official voice for, he's the one. So that's what I was thinking of. Do you remember what you were going to go into before I interrupted you? You were saying completely off topic. Sorry.
No, I don't. I don't remember at all. But I really like how this is really important here. The whole, his first night as a crime fighter. But the thing is, I can't tell if this is like a new act or something, just because
He's flashing back.
he's flashing back, but it's all like. The cat was back there jingling something. Why is it off?
Well, I didn't mean to turn it all the way off. It was just very loud for a minute.
Gonna ride a truck into a wall.
Alright, so what has Batman figured out so far?
Well, he's figured out the most important thing: criminals aren't afraid of him. He has the combat skills, but when he showed up and he told everyone to stick your hands in the air, they all laughed at him.
That's also a guy that's going to pop up in his life at a later time, though. Mm-hmm. That's a guy that they showed at the party that he didn't like, that was involved in the mafia, that he was trying to bust and he didn't get him years ago. Now he's paying for it now, so you got more of that survivor's guilt stuff that he's always dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Can we take a second to talk about Shirley Walker and how amazing she is?
Yes.
Who's that?
Shirley Walker
Shirley
is
Walker's
the composer of this magnificent, like, John Williams caliber score.
Yeah. You've got a... at some point, if we have a chance tonight, we should drop by my place, and I'll give you the sort of a sample of the score that I have so far, because right now I'm working on... Right now I'm in charge of the soundtrack.
Okay.
So I can do orchestral stuff. Matter of fact, that's all I can do. But I'm...
I can do scat.
But all of the music that I'm doing is based on existing themes by Shirley Walker.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've got, for the main theme, I've got Batman's theme, and then Talia's theme, Ra's al Ghul's theme.
How many times do you think Alfred's walked in on Bruce getting laid?
A lot.
Not enough.
He seemed pretty used to it just then.
And it's just like, I'll just put this in the fridge, come back later.
That's the thing about Bruce with me, is like half the time he's not actually getting laid, he's just doing it to keep up. That's one of the things I really liked with the new Nolan, is how much of his gallivanting is keeping up appearances so he doesn't get caught.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very heavily relied on in the newer Batman films. And that was an example of that right there. Dude doesn't know what's going on. He's just staying out of it because that's his job.
But like, I remember what my off-topic thing was. The guy that I think would, out of all the people that look like they could portray Batman, his voice might even be able to do it. I don't know if he can do any sort of acting, and I know he's not an actor, which is gonna be a hilarious choice here. But Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs. Look at that guy. Look at how he is built. Look at his face. Look at his jawline. The guy looks like Batman. He doesn't have the right haircut, but if he were to get a
no
haircut,
one has the right haircut. You have to have a head the size of a lantern to have that haircut, man. His head's ginormous.
But Mike Rowe looks like Batman to me. I just thought that'd be
Hi, I'm
funny to
Batman.
remark on.
Today we're gonna hang out with these garbage men, see what a dirty job they do.
You gotta go with your grandmother and Bruce Campbell in his younger years.
Well, yeah, that's the thing they missed the boat on, obviously. Can't wait till
Bruce Campbell could still do it.
Yeah, he could.
He could do Dark Knight Returns Batman. Older Batman.
I think Bruce Willis would be perfect for Dark Knight Returns. I'm not talking the looks as much as I'm talking the tone.
I'm talking acting ability. I don't even care about looks because he's in the costume.
As if he's not a great actor.
I just don't think.
He's
Bruce
great.
Willis should play Batman, man. You don't have to get all mad.
I'm not getting mad at all.
Just don't think Bruce Willis could play Batman.
I've never had that thought before until I watched those Dark Knight Returns movies, and I was thinking about live action adaptations.
Well, I blame Chris Nolan for putting those thoughts in your head, then.
Peter Weller did a really good job.
Damn. That's a Batman I never think about.
Yeah, he was. He voiced Batman in the Dark Knight Returns animated films that just came out.
Wasn't
earlier.
he also Under the Red Hood? Or one of the other ones?
I don't.
He's done
think
more
so.
than that.
I'm not sure, but
He really, like, the whole older Batman, that was... When he's just like, we are criminals, I was just like, yes!
So at this point in the movie, there's still mystery as to who the bad guy is. They're playing it sort of like the scene in the graveyard, sort of like a horror movie. Mm-hmm. Like,
And the Phantasm himself is kind of a mixture of different parts from different villains, so you're kind of curious about who it is.
Right.
Kind of looks like Batman from a distance. He's got a weird smog machine built into his cape.
Mm-hmm.
That's gotta be getting heavy. Hugging that shit around.
I like that you keep saying he, but I did too.
You just fucking have to ruin all things at life. Because
Hey,
obviously, this film that came out in, 1995... no one's ever seen it. No one. And just, you have to spoil everything.
Hey, I said he
For
too.
everyone. Look at this guy having a heart attack because of what Kenn Edwards just did. Can't get to his oxygen. Can't get to his oxygen. He can't breathe because of the audacity of Kenn.
Okay. All right.
There's the guy Batman was trying to bust in the big truck on his first night.
His first Dark Knight.
No, or is
so
it the DA?
he was the guy in the truck.
No, the DA looks like the Weasley guy. You have to be careful with that.
So what I was getting at is, Raish. We want Raish to be pretty prominent through our flick, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we don't want Batman to like realize it's him and then have him show up only like halfway through the movie.
Right. The way I was envisioning it was that there's scenes that go on. Their stories are sort of going on separately, and the first time that they actually interact with each other is actually the final scene of the film where they fight. That's when they finally everything comes together, and for the first time in like 5 years they see each other for what will be the last time.
Right. So
But you see Raish, there's the scene with Raish hiring the Clock King. There's scenes with him, there's scenes with him making plans as to what city he's going to attack next. Stuff like that going on.
So up until that point, it'll be sort of like... It'll be sort of like... up until the end, it'll be sort of like we're following two lead characters' separate stories.
Exactly.
Through the whole movie.
I like
And just
that idea.
one of them's the good guy, one of them's the bad guy.
So it's like a romantic comedy, but with fighting.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
And no
serendipity.
romance.
Hey, there's romance.
There's romance followed by tragedy.
It's like You've Got Mail if at the end Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan just fucking killed each other. Just fucking destroyed Seattle, killing each other. That would be the movie I would love to see. They realize it's each other and they just fucking go off. They can't handle it.
That's the one thing.
That's not obvious at all, Batman. A waiter has to come by with water and be like, "The fuck is Batman doing?"
Yeah, for the
Isn't
people,
this man like a master of stealth?
for the people who aren't following along, that's in reference to like a shot where Andrea Beaumont, the chick Batman's fucking in love with, is having dinner with this fucking Weasley scumbag that we've been fucking weary of the entire movie. And Batman's literally right across the street on the same parallel ledge with his binoculars, looking in the window so clearly.
I really don't even think he needed the binoculars. It was so close.
It'd be better if it didn't have where it was just up close on his binoculars and it was a quick pan back into the restaurant where you could see him. Like, it was raining, it was storming, but like there was a spotlight on him. And you could just hanging out. What's up, guys? There's a reflection.
Now, this flashback is one of my favorite things in the movie because it just has such a theme of hope with this, like, them looking forward towards tomorrow. And it's so symbolic that later, when they go back to this location for the end of the movie, everything is destroyed. And it's a very good metaphor for what happened to Bruce and Andrea's relationship. That's her name, right? Andrea Beaumont? Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's a reference in the back to the fact that Wayne Enterprises was making the future and that Lucius Fox was designing things.
Right here?
Yeah, Lucius Fox designed that. The car they're looking at.
Does it say where does it say something about
Because
Lucius
it's the
Fox?
Batmobile.
Oh, I guess you're right.
It's the Batmobile in red. It's Lucius. Lucius Fox pops up in the animated series. I thought it was I've got Batman in my basement, but I guess it's not.
It's he comes up a couple of times. I know he was.
They show the old Batmobile.
He was in He was in the first episode with Ra's al Ghul. Actually, the one where Talia hijacked that sonic drill thing.
Is that the one where he fixes up the old Batmobile with the bat face?
No,
That's which one is that? Because that's not Batman in my basement, but that's another one where like Batman needs help.
There's one that wasn't Lucius Fox who fixed the Batmobile though. There were these two mechanic guys.
But there's one where Lucius Fox and Batman talk to each other like they're old friends. Is that the one with Ra's al Ghul? Where they like reminisce about building the Batmobile?
No, they didn't interact in that episode. But shit, what won't? I know Lucius Fox was in Mudslide.
Okay.
He was in Mudslide. And that might have been it, because
there's a lot of episodes of that show, dude. I haven't watched them in a while.
One thing that's very interesting about this movie that makes it hard to maybe separate into sections is how much of it is told through flashbacks. Mm-hmm. Like we're not going just like one sequential direction, following decisions that are being made. We're seeing basically how everything that happens in the present relates to the past throughout the entire movie. So it's sort of difficult. I sort of would have to re-edit it to show it all chronologically to know exactly where all the breaks are. At least that's how I feel right now until seeing it all like laid out in front of me.
But definitely the end of the flashback where Batman puts on the mask.
Yeah.
That is the end of an act.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, with this, there's a lot of this backstory that never bothered to get told with the films up until this point. Yeah. And if it weren't for the animated... Like, the Nolan films remind me so much of the animated series. I kind of feel like there's parts of it where Chris Nolan was just at home watching it, writing shit down.
Actually,
that works.
Actually, there are a lot of similarities between the plot of... I believe it's this film. There's a lot of similarities between the plot here and the plot of The Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah.
I would bet my life on the fact that Christopher Nolan's seen this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Well, had to have if he was doing a Batman movie.
The Two-Face arc in that reminds me a lot of the Two-Face arc in this, to where it's like Harvey and then he's bad, and they actually deal with it. But then they just got that Joker performance out of Heath Ledger, and there's nothing you can do about it.
But yeah, going back to what you were saying about Shirley Walker and her composing abilities.
For the longest time as a child, I just assumed it was John Williams because he did the film scores at that time.
It was actually Danny Elfman.
No, Danny Elfman, who did the film scores at that time.
And like,
I don't know why I said Williams.
The earliest episodes of the animated series were actually scored. Like, some of it was actually Danny Elfman's score. The original opening theme, Danny Elfman wrote that. Shirley Walker conducted it.
Yeah.
The reason Shirley Walker was brought onto the project, Danny Elfman had scheduling conflicts. Shirley Walker was actually Danny Elfman's mentor.
That explains a bunch. I never knew that.
Yeah, no, Shirley Walker actually was his mentor. It's crazy. Like, it's funny, you look at that drawing of Batman, or the proto-Batman, and it's funny because if you compare how that looks to how Batman actually looks in this, that was a really fucking good drawing.
Bruce Wayne's just insanely talented at all things.
It's as if and I'm going back to the act thing just because I'm fascinated by it, and I hadn't really thought of it now until we were watching it. But it's like as if this movie is broken up into retroactive acts. Like, we're telling all one story at one time. It's more sort of like a detective story in the present time, but all the major decisions that affect his life, like, are sort of told in these flashbacks.
Well, and it seems to me like there are two completely separate stories going on here.
Well, I mean, it's a Batman movie for people who don't know a thing about Batman. It's the entire origin story plus one of the best Joker encounters.
Yeah.
Who hasn't shown up to this point, by the way, and we're near halfway. We're a little under halfway through.
We're about 2/5 of the way through, yeah.
Yeah, to break it up into fifths, 2/5 of the way through, and it's just he's really, if you think about it, he's the main, like, he's the big problem with Batman, to where the Phantasm really gets kind of put in the background, and everyone's just kind of fighting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
I'm pretty sure he's
wet
crying.
in this city.
I'm pretty sure he's crying.
No, he was.
Yeah,
but
he's
he
definitely
is
crying
like
here.
literally like look at the water coming off of them.
Oh yeah, don't keep the umbrella, Andre.
This hug is too important to stay dry.
I love pensive Batman. I'd kill for like a poster of like that last little shot of him looking up.
I mean, the imagery in this.
I can't wait to direct, or not direct, but like you know, when we talk to like animators and like just direct those little sequences that are just like Batman being sneaky. Like just now it was like one shot of Batman sitting on a ledge, and he was like being like, oh shit, here comes some lights from a helicopter. And then it was a quick shot of the helicopter with the light going over to that ledge. Cut back to the ledge, Batman's not there. Just simple little stuff like that we can put our own signature on. Even though it's like stuff everyone's seen a million times. That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's like
Sorry, go.
The one thing I just realized is that I'm trying to pay attention to what Gotham City looks like, because Gotham City is
It's 1949.
yeah,
It's still 1949.
And you said it yourself, it has its own significant architecture, but it also occurred to me that not a whole lot of our movie actually takes place in Gotham City.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
To
Me.
I mean, him and Talia are going to be traveling the world, looking at several ruined cities. They will go into a lifeless Paris, France, where everyone is dead. There's not even bodies,
And
because of what Ra's al Ghul has done. So they're going to be traveling through there. They go to Milan, and the eventual climax of the film takes place in New Cuba. So
everything, and yeah, it always feels like when I was watching those episodes, like Showdown or The Demon Reborn or whatever, it always it affects you. It does affect the psyche when you watch so much Batman and you're so used to it being in one place. It is literally uncomfortable to the point of like you have to pay attention because important shit is going on.
Which episode?
When they leave Gotham. Anytime they leave Gotham, like in a lot of the Ra's al Ghul episodes.
When he's in the jungle?
Yeah,
Gotta fight the Panther?
or the desert.
That was
Yeah.
a weird episode.
I love that one.
Um,
When the farmer makes the big bugs? I like that one. That's outside of Gotham.
But yeah, there's I like with these movies. There's like shit going on that you generally like are not used to. Like this has like extended flashback shit that's like way more. I mean, not that the animated series isn't dramatic, but it's just dramatic on a whole nother level.
does
Well, they did
does
the
Wayne
movies.
Manor have battlements?
They did the movies for the specific reason of it's not going to be on TV. We get to do what we want,
Right.
To an extent.
Yeah.
We get to do what we want. But yeah, there's crazy. Like there was a like a tower with a gun type deal in the back. These are just castles sitting on the eastern shore of wherever we are.
This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Maybe even my favorite scene. And this is they split the movie into thirds when they wrote it, and I know Paul Dini had his stamp on this like romantic little section of it, and I just think it's beautiful and so ultimately tragic after what happens here when he wakes up the next day. But those bats coming out as soon as he makes a commitment to something that will make him happy is just such a great metaphor.
Only universe where constant reminders that you're in the universe never seems hackneyed.
Right.
Those bats will never seem hackneyed in any form of Batman to me. Because I know what they represent. And no one else in that universe seems to get what they represent. Except for Bruce. There's got to be a bad guy in Arkham like, wait a minute, he's always around bats.
It's surprising the number of people that... Well, I don't know if it's surprising that the number is bigger or the number is smaller, but the...
there he is.
Yep.
Like...
It's a good shot.
The actual... The number of people who have actually deduced who Batman is, like...
That's a short list.
Yeah, but it's Ra's al Ghul, Hugo Strange,
Talia, obviously.
Talia through Ra's.
I thought Bruce told her.
Mm-mm.
Bruce told somebody.
She showed up with Ra's.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Amanda Waller, head of the Cadmus Project in Justice League Unlimited, actually threatened him with exposing him the first time they ever encountered each other.
Why'd that show get canceled? Oh, yeah, it was too good.
Oh, no, Justice League Unlimited didn't get canceled, it got finished.
Oh. Well, I need to finish it then.
I liked Justice, like the first run of Justice League. This is my favorite scene.
Oh, yeah, this is incredible.
Like, I always get chills just thinking about this scene, because this is, like, the most pivotal moment in Bruce Wayne's life here.
Right here, I love Alfred's presence here, that Bruce isn't alone in this moment.
That handshake, and then he's shooken.
Yeah, like, we play Alfred in this scene, where we're like, oh my god, a fucking transformation.
Well, and it's always...
The first time I saw this scene, I shed tears.
It's always...
That was how powerful this is.
Alfred's unflappable. This is the one time in the entire, to me, the canon universe that I've ever seen Alfred be flappable, is A, Bruce is going to kill himself by doing something dumb, or B, that one moment where he's scared of Batman.
We're killing him.
That's really not cool. I don't support that at all.
What do you mean? He dies before Batman Beyond. This movie's between...
I don't consider Batman Beyond to be anything because Alfred dies.
Okay, but regardless of your
for that one fact,
regardless of your argument, it's undeniable that Batman Beyond is part of the animated series canon.
No.
I'm
not that stupid.
Right. So what we're trying to do is bridge those. And Alfred dies between the animated series and Batman Beyond.
Okay.
And it's actually a very powerful moment when he does die too.
Right at the halfway mark of the movie, the Joker shows up.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point that out because it's almost perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. You can continue.
But yeah, it's a really powerful moment. And
I know it's very important.
Since it's not depicted, I figured we have like a really good opportunity to depict why it would be
how he dies in the film. We discussed this last episode.
He's died in the comics, dude. He wasn't in Dark Knight Returns.
No, we know.
Yeah, he died. Was he?
Yeah, he was in Dark Knight Returns. He died at the end. He died when he self-destructed.
Well, he died in Dark Knight
of a stroke
Returns.
right afterwards.
That's my problem with that. But I consider him dying then, not then. It's just which universe you're involved in anymore.
But it's like
we're trying to keep the continuity of the DC animated universe very
whole. Someone tried to. I call it the DCWB universe because it's WB's influence was very heavy on the animation style and stuff.
A lot of people call it the Dini-verse or the Tim-verse.
That's
but
cool.
It's like
I just try to say Paul Dini's the Lord Jesus Christ and go from there.
But like that's something that we are from square one always trying to make sure that nothing we write in this movie contradicts anything that's presently established.
Cool.
It is. We want this to be so concise. I mean, down to the smallest little details.
Well, the canon of Batman is a lot neater than most of the other DC Universe properties because they have concised it down to this is fact, everything else is hearsay. This is like we know the facts, and oddly enough, the cartoon for children, both of them followed that.
Yeah, and then this,
even the one I don't like, followed it.
And then it's like, and with this, we've even got it more narrowed down. We've got time frames. We've got dates.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that this takes place in the canon year 2009.
And what we're dealing with in our story is, like, it's all very important stuff. We're not just, like, cherry-picking and making up a story. Like, they've alluded to the plot line that we've come up with in the Batman Beyond and Justice League series, the Near Apocalypse of 09. So what we're doing and every decision we make is totally a huge one for the entire universe. I mean, there's an apocalypse we're dealing with, fucking Alfred's death.
I mean, millions of people die throughout the course of this movie. I mean, there's a genocide.
Well, if France is barren, there's your millions, dude. You don't have to justify any other cities.
Yeah, he's going. But I mean, he destroys Paris.
Joker face.
He destroys Paris. He destroys Hong Kong. But it's like, but the thing is that he destroys the people. He doesn't destroy the cities because of the way that he's done it. I mean, have you listened to any of the?
Not yet. My car's been broken. I haven't been able to listen to podcasts.
But yeah, when you get a chance, listen to it. We've got basically what happens is how Ra's al Ghul. we missed the part where Batman's at his parents' graves, or at least I missed it. That part was hilarious. We talked about it last time. But anyway, Ra's al Ghul basically figured out how to reverse engineer the chemicals and enzymes in the Lazarus pits and weaponized it to create violent, like, instantaneous death by aging in a dust. It's pretty much
his
what
rule
it is.
about not killing people causes more problems than it solves.
Actually, that's
I'm sorry.
That's a big crux of the...
that actually is discussed in the film.
And we've never taken the time out to talk about it. So the fact that someone's finally been like, if he just killed Joker, like 8,000 people in Gotham would still be alive today.
And that's actually that actually does come up as a plot element, or a very minor plot element in this movie. Ra's al Ghul. This is a scene that I just brainstormed. Basically, Ra's al Ghul will tell Batman about the first person to ever stand against him back in the 1400s.
Wait, since this is the first time you're revealing this, you should lean into the mic and really go into this.
But yeah, the basis of basically in the mid 1400s, Ra's al Ghul, he's in his 50s or 60s at this point, and he's finally started his quest to he's noticed that humanity is getting to be too big, and he's actually now the big outbreak of the bubonic plague took place in the 1350s. Since then, there were smaller outbreaks over the years. He wasn't directly involved with it. He just tried to make sure that the plague was still a factor because it was naturally depopulating the earth. It's just natural balance there. So he used his Society of Shadows to sort of keep tabs on what was going on. And when there were people who were searching for cures, and he was systematically wiping those people out so the cure didn't get around, so the plague was still a factor. Now, there's one guy comes up with a really good cure in the Holy Roman Empire, and he keeps trying to send the cure to the Vatican to make sure, because through the power of the Catholic Church, they'd be able to spread it around really well. Well, 3 times he sends this cure out. 3 times the cure doesn't get there. But Ra's al Ghul's assassination attempts against the guy making the cure keep failing. He decides to step in himself, travels to the Holy Roman Empire, finds this guy, and finds the guy's bodyguard. The guy's bodyguard's the first person to stand against him. Now this guy, his weapon, just a staff. Mm-hmm. And they fight, Ra's al Ghul with a sword and this guy with the staff. And this guy gets the upper hand and gets to the point to where he ends up actually able to deal a death blow against Ra's al Ghul. But he hesitates. He doesn't kill. It is this that allows Ra's al Ghul to take the duel back into his own favor and decapitate him. And then destroys the guy who made the cure and this guy. And Ra's al Ghul would eventually... The staff, this man's staff, actually sits on display in Ra's al Ghul's fortress. Sort of a symbol of the first man to stand against him. And he... This whole scene is just fucking nuts.
I like how periodically, like, Vincent's here, like, in the middle of intensely telling us his ideas of this stuff he's written for our movie, and then occasionally he'll hear like a noise and look back at the TV, and he'll go like, "Oh man, look at the Batwing! I recognize the Batwing. What's this?" And then he gets caught up for like 2 seconds, and then tries to turn back around and be like, "Oh yeah, I was talking about something." You just have the wonder of a child, even though you've seen this movie like 20,000 times. It's
really trying to kill Batman right now.
This is probably about 6 for me. I actually did not see this movie as a child. I did not see it for the first time until about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I didn't see it until a few months ago.
All those wasted years.
Both of y'all make me sad. Sorry.
But...
Because it's your fault.
Right?
But anyways...
What are you trying to fit in?
But anyways, like I said, the staff is on display in Ra's al Ghul's fortress. And... as he's talking to Batman, he describes to him this first person to stand against him and said, his failing is the same reason you'll fail. I know it. I've seen it before. And then, shortly after that, there's a final fight, and Ra's actually grabs the staff because, Batman's kicking his ass.
And Ra's is about to end humanity as he sees fit. So why wouldn't he grab this like symbolic, this symbol of him beating those who are weaker than him?
And so he grabs this thing, and then he's hitting Batman with it, and then Batman will have the new suit, and it's got the 2 blades on the side of his arm. He'll actually catch it between the 2, twist, pull the staff out of Ra's al Ghul's hand, and take it into his own. And counterattack with it. Thus, the final man to stand against Ra's al Ghul is using the weapon of the first.
And then there's like an eagle call. It's like, ah! No, I'm kidding.
But that's fucking beautiful. And
yes, it is.
And Otto told me that whole thing right before we started recording, and it's just... I think it fits perfectly. I love the idea of like a little... I know I said this before, and it's why we got on this subject of... But just giving him a history that we didn't know, or that nobody knew about.
Yeah, we discussed that last time.
Yeah, it's like
brilliant.
And the thing is, and it also goes great because, like, I didn't want it to. We were talking originally about making it an origin story. I didn't want to do an origin story on it because
that's not necessary.
Yeah, it's.
That's what this is.
That's right, and there's basically you go into it. There's too many origin stories. This is not a beginning. This is a middle.
The Phantasm showed up apparently real early in the whole Batman canon. Like, even though he's been doing this for a bit, like, this is one of his first encounters with the Joker or something. He just was supposed to be one of his first encounters with the Joker.
And like, I know the Joker, the events that caused him to become the Joker happened, like, not even 6 months after Bruce Wayne put on the mask for the first time.
Well, that's why they're so connected.
Exactly. And
there's always, like, there's always like the thought of like Bruce Wayne watching his parents get shot by the Joker, but there's always the thought that the Joker that I've seen in comics of Batman pushing him into the goo, the chemical he got pushed into. Mm-hmm. There's been that thought of him getting pushed into as well, introduced. So I have to consider them.
But yeah, this for a kids show, the whole storyline, the whole continuity in this is so complex yet so concise.
Yeah, actually, as an adult, I am amazed at how Batman, about how kids are into Batman at all. Like, I mean, it's not like yes, there are crazy elements to the universe, but it's not fantastical at all. Like, it's set in but it's set in a gritty, real life like city where like the hero doesn't have superpowers and he has to like. He's always crying about his parents. I mean, not literally.
Pretty fucking fantastical to me.
But well, yes. But what I'm saying is like it's not like Fantastic Four would be, where all of the time you have goodies to look at on screen. Like most of the time, what you're looking at when you're watching Batman in animation is two people talking.
And he's really not so much the good guy.
That brings up that harkens back to Quentin Tarantino in a way. Look at how awesome Quentin Tarantino's movies are. Why? The dialogue. The movies are almost always told by large amounts of dialogue interspersed with, random bouts of extreme violence for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the story is always just told by the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And it really gives you a sense not just of the characters, but of the just everything in general. It's just good storytelling, because it's storytelling at its heart. It's actually people telling a story.
Like look at that. Look how they fucking fucked. That is what that's saying. This is so adult. I'm sorry.
That's not what it has to say, though. It says they love each other.
I know.
You only associate sex with
her.
love because you're an adult.
Yeah, but I'm
he
saying...
He loves her with his penis.
That's your flaw, not their flaw.
I'm not saying it's a flaw at all. I'm saying, like, they wouldn't have drawn her without pants on if they weren't trying to tell us that they fucked.
that was like wearing a bathing suit underneath, like they had gone swimming, because, like, Bruce had the towel. He was drying his hair off.
I assume they showered after a long, sweaty lovemaking session.
No, it's a kid's show. You gotta assume differently.
And that is something that I really love about taking the reins on this universe, is that the whole thing started out as a kid's show, but like this movie, they were allowed to have characters actually die and get shot on screen. Because it was a theatrical release, they could take a few things with it.
Oh no!
If you're playing the home game, Batman just drew a smiley face on a guy and assumed that means he's the Joker. Worst detective work ever. It's like if I drew a mustache on Vincent and assumed that he was John Wayne Gacy. No! Bad news.
Especially because I already have a mustache.
Yeah.
I love how he's wearing the outfit that Jack Nicholson wore when he confronted the guy in his office in the original Batman movie. The exact same like hat and cane and overcoat combination.
Well, I mean, and that's... this whole series was sort of born out of the ashes of that.
Yeah.
Well, with the Danny Elfman score and the very gothic, like, more gothic than gothic buildings and gargoyles that would kill you if you looked at them.
Yeah, they said, Mark Hamill was saying the thing that they were most insistent about as far as not taking from the Burton movies is during the Joker auditions for everybody. And all the people who didn't get the job before Hamill walked in, was the main note is do not think Nicholson, because we don't want to have a show that's going to air for years, and every time our most prominent villain shows up, people are thinking, well, it's just not quite Nicholson. That guy's doing the voice good, but it's just not quite Nicholson.
like that. Their big note of change was like, we need to make the Joker feel like a original of the show. Yeah.
Well, my problem with Nicholson is Nicholson isn't quite Hamill, and that's where the big switch happened. Is like our generation looks at Nicholson versus Hamill and goes, Hamill, go with Hamill.
Mark Hamill's always been my favorite Joker. He's that right mix, especially in Return of the Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, even Christian, even if you don't like Batman,
I've seen Return of the Joker.
I mean,
I'm not an idiot.
I mean, it's just
Henry
like
Rollins is in that movie. Yeah, it's funny.
But like, you know,
I just don't like the animation style mostly. Doesn't appeal to me. Which is huge for me as an animation fan. If I don't like your animation style, your storytelling isn't going to be as effective too.
No, we completely agree. We were discussing Bob's Burgers the other day. We don't like Bob's Burgers animation style.
I think it's lazy.
exactly.
But
and we're gonna try and emulate earlier Batman animation as opposed to later.
It's not lazy.
Oh, look at this! Look at this! You see the emergency vehicle sign. Look at how run down this hospital is. The sign in front of the hospital is all run down.
I never noticed that.
Look at, I mean,
what's a code, Kenneth? EMG? Electromagnetic Ghetto
Hospital.
but like,
look at that guy. He's having a good time. He's laughing.
Everyone has a good time in Arkham after they meet the Joker.
but it's like, but going back to what I was saying before, the fact that we're taking the reins, we don't have censors that we've got to deal with.
Oh,
yeah.
We don't. I mean, that was one of the biggest problems. The censors did do us a favor because they gave us Over the Edge as opposed to the Oracle story. They wanted to do like the Oracle story where Batgirl gets shot, but they decided. The censor said, "No, you can't do that." So they came up with a different story, which actually
the Oracle story.
But
I still want the Oracle story.
But they actually came up with a story that's probably even darker than that.
Yeah.
Where Barbara the one where she falls?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's probably...
Like, the Joker straight up just lets her die in that situation. Like, she just straight up dies because of him.
Joker was in that
wasn't
one.
that the Joker?
No, that was
Who was the
Scarecrow.
villain up... Okay, Scarecrow straight up lets her just fall.
He knocks her ass off.
He's perfectly
And then-
okay with it.
Bane's death there.
Oh, I mean, it's just... I mean, that's like a staple of storytelling right there. But like, with that, we don't have censors. We actually... You know, we have so much freedom with this.
We have the opposite of censors.
The only notes we have to follow are our own, and while I'm bringing up that, we'd also love to hear from anybody who's listening, and I don't know if I've said it on the show. It's in all the show notes, but our show email is weareprojectbatman@gmail.com. So while everything that's released is about 3 weeks behind, because we want to figure out our problems before you can. We're still interested in what you have to say while you're listening. So if you have any thoughts on anything at all, like, please let us know, and we'd be happy to take that in.
Comment on how cool that Chris Cook guy is. Whatever.
Yeah, speaking of Chris Cook, I'm going to take a minute and say, listen to his podcast, Scattershot, because it's good.
Friend me on Facebook. I'll occasionally talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah. I love it. He's sitting there. Yeah, what the hell? Answer it.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have to answer. Joker just starts talking.
Yeah, so what I was saying is, and I'm not complaining that like we haven't been breaking down this movie, because I think we're doing great with material and like what we're getting across, but I think it'll be easier. Let's next do this to Return of the Joker, and since there's only one like extended flashback sequence in that, it'll be easier to chronologically break down acts. Yeah, if you know what I'm saying.
Was our plan to do Joker right after this? Because it's not very long either.
We can't.
I'm up for it.
I would, but I have to go to the store that I work at and straighten out some things before the morning shift. I'm really not. That's not really not me trying to get out of it. I just left some shit in a mess there, but
I don't want to wake up 2 hours earlier. I'd rather stay up 2 hours later and figure it out.
He's got to move the pile from here to here.
Yes.
And then it'll be a pile over here.
Exactly.
I
Look
made
at
you
that.
drop
And
your apples.
I love shit like that where, like, nobody ever has to tell us, like, that he killed him.
That dude's just straight up evil.
But he did.
Loves to have an apple afterwards.
Like, I love that you can just imply things, and we all know.
I love how this lady's still cutting after all these years. And that they made her knife sharp in the first place.
That's the kind of woman Joker would hang out with. Someone that cuts after all these years. We're gearing up for this final showdown.
Well, you know it's early Joker because he hasn't gone to Arkham and met Harley yet.
Yeah. True. Yeah, this Joker's more lonely. He's fucking hanging out with a robot.
Well, even his phone conversation where he's always telling Batman how he like never calls and writes and shit.
Right.
He's just bored without him. Smoke machine.
And we're at the big reveal who the Mask of the Phantasm is.
They actually never say the word phantasm out loud,
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like how they never say the word zombie in Night of the Living Dead. I'm sure the papers called it the Phantasm. The Gotham Daily Gotham. The Joker just got kicked in the nuts in a children's cartoon.
Awesome move.
I mean,
He is just a man, remember.
we're gonna have on-screen deaths. Anyways,
We're about to have an on-screen death. This mechanical lady's about to die.
Fucking egg beaters as a weapon? That's crazy.
he could have grabbed the knife, but he went for the egg beater.
Yeah, but with
Or
the
no,
Joker...
no, with the, yeah, he picks the bologna over the butcher's leader.
The Joker's kind of like the toy maker, though, in the sense that he'll make a little airplane that flies a bomb just at Batman for fun.
Right.
He's got time on his hands to do shit like that.
I love when the Joker fucking gives up and accepts fate at the end of this. Even though we don't know ultimately what happens. Like, it's like, that's what's implied. It's like, he's just happy to see so much destruction
There was
created.
There was a little runner-up comic that went into it. Apparently they fell into a sewer or something and fought, but something like that.
They fell into a sewer and fought. That's all that happened.
I love the idea that Joker always has like a remote control for anything in the
Universal.
city
Yeah.
in his pocket for shit he rigged up however long ago.
I feel like a scene of Joker, like, without fighting Batman, it's like Batman typing at the Batputer in the Batcave, and you just cut to Joker, and just him sitting with a soldering iron, like, putting bombs together. Just, like, looking around at all the shit he's got to do. Goes back to making his bomb.
Yeah, for how much he shows up in that Bat universe, like, I bet all the time that we don't see him, Joker is just figuring out, working with his electronics.
Where does he get his money from?
Oh, you know.
He never
Probably just steals
He never
shit.
robs banks. He's always just trying to kill Batman. That's all he cares about.
I always just pictured it. I loved how Nolan went after that in The Dark Knight. Is just like he manipulates other people into stealing the money he needs for him, and that's it's just a simple task that he never even really gives two thoughts about.
Well, and then he turns that into, I have all this money that I can use to kill Batman.
right, yeah.
That he eventually burns a Chinese man on top of. He straight up burns a Chinese dude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That scene is just glossed over like it's nothing.
I love that the Joker burns a mountain of money in that movie. It's so symbolic of what he actually wants and how he's different from other enemies.
Yeah, that was I kind of feel like the message about the Joker got lost in Ledger's performance, and that there was no conversation afterwards that this is truly a bad guy who's different than other bad guys, and yeah, they call him the Clown Prince of Crime, but it's the worst title because it's the darkest, like, clown prince out there. It's just, it's the person that I feel like out of anyone in Arkham that you met, he's gonna kill you. There's no flipping of a coin. There's no decision making. There's no rationale there that even people like the Penguin and Two-Face have you're just gonna die.
Yeah, Penguin's not gonna kill you unless he's
a
getting something
businessman.
out of it.
He's a businessman. WB.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Godzilla fights giant Batman.
Yeah.
Just like he's hiding in a building.
I heard they had so much fun with this scene.
Animating it?
Yeah.
Because they're essentially using the Gotham model as a model.
Yeah.
Literally. And then you just have giant Batman fighting giant Joker throughout the city of Gotham. Well, and plus you involve the whole reference. Joker just lost a tooth. You involve the reference to Godzilla versus King Kong.
Yeah.
The immovable object versus the irresistible force and all that. The fact that Joker's got a universal remote that actually is universal. It's like he just thinks about what he wants to control and just does it.
It's like he's been just prepping for Batman for this showdown all his life.
Well, in this universe, that's all he really cares about. You know, he doesn't have time to rob banks. He's trying to kill Batman.
Yeah, I guess that is, like, the definition of insane, is that he would be thinking about all of this all the time until the moment that it finally happened.
Well, when it comes to the Joker, you gotta think about what the definition of insanity is. It's doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome. He doesn't expect to go to Arkham. That's why he busts out every time.
Yeah.
That, and they have lax security.
Oh, this is awesome.
Like he's smashing a sack of puppies or something. Just terrible.
Oh, whenever he uses his cape as a weapon, you know shit's about to go down. Over the edge with the fucking rocks.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I love when Joker just runs away as if he's being cowardly, but he's always just ready in the next room.
He wants the chase.
Yeah.
He's excited for the chase. Hey, Felix.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Love Felix.
Hey!
You got the giant, like, mixture of Gort and the robot from Lost in Space.
Oh, there's Joker's backpack he had hidden behind that.
Batpack?
Whatever, jetpack.
You called it a backpack. That's funny.
I love the purple helmet.
That's if yeah, he's got like a purple motorcycle helmet on. If you're not watching, which you really should be at this point.
Yeah.
You don't know what we're talking about.
Joker really... That's funny. I've never really thought about him being color coordinated.
Accessorizing?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of why he's insane, too, is it's like, out of all the chaos and stuff, there's kind of an order to, like, he uses toys, and, like, they're all very well crafted.
I'll tell you what's insane. In the purple suit with the red jetpack tanks?
Yeah. I have sort of imagined Joker waking up every morning and he goes over to his closet and it looks the same way like Doug Funny's looks, where it's just like the same suit over and over.
I feel like he has more than one suit. He has different occasions to wear them.
Yeah.
He's got like his purple suit and his green suit. He's got stuff. He's got lots of green hair dye.
Does he wear different suits? That's not his suit all the time?
That's
not all the time. Like he was wearing the overcoat and the hat and the cane. He occasionally wears different stuff.
Okay.
Especially when he's escaping from or in Arkham, he wears different stuff. Like thrown together suits because he can't get his real one.
Right. And
dude, she's got a big old phantasm claw. Can you not put two? Oh, maybe she doesn't. But she's wearing an all black leotard. Have you not figured it out yet? She's got the big old boots on.
Is it done yet?
I love how it doesn't matter who wins the fight, because they're gonna die. Yeah. He doesn't care. It's just about having the fight till that moment.
Right.
Till the Ferris wheel starts rolling.
Tomorrowland dies.
They're essentially blowing up the World's Fair in New York.
Yeah.
Which, if you've ever seen Men in Black, you've seen the World's Fair at New York.
There's Joker just eating up the total annihilation of the idea of the future.
Oh, I love how she just disappears with him.
Yep. Unexplained, that's the last time we see him. Well, I guess we see Andrea, but... Let's write in a way real quick to how Batman lived.
And then Killer Croc is gonna pop out and eat him. Killer Croc's gonna pop out, but then the Penguin's shark is gonna pop out, and they're gonna fight each other, and then Batman's just gonna sail away.
And Batman's just sitting there looking at it like, well, that sucked.
Yeah. I guess if you're a Batman in that moment, you assume the Joker is dead. But apparently that's not what he's thinking about right now.
It always seems like a difficult decision for him to leave a situation like that instead of going back in.
Yeah, he needs certainty. He's a man who needs to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Except for in the end of Out of the Past.
Yeah.
Okay, since you guys have seemed to have rewatched the animated series recently, which I recently found a bunch of my comics for if you ever want to look at them. They're just longer tellings of the show.
And some of them they did before those actual episodes aired.
Oh, you've researched it, okay. And, I like it because it's the same art style, and you kind of got to see it one way and then another way, and that's why you read books and see movies. But, what was I saying? Oh, since you guys have recently watched them, what was the episode about the death poke? Where, if you got poked in a certain place in your chest, you die, and Batman had to wear that big iron thing with just the one little hole in case he poked him the right way, it would kill him. And I don't understand why he just didn't plug that darn hole. It was one of either the Ra's al Ghul or Bane episodes.
There were only 2 episodes with Bane, and it wasn't any of the Ra's al Ghul episodes. It might have been the episode of the Superman.
There's a lot of
series
fire. There was a lot of fire, and there was a skeleton guy who could kill anyone. It was on the animated series, I know that. I didn't make it up.
We'll figure it out and get back to you by next episode. You listeners, we'll figure that out and explain it.
Yeah,
I watched all of
this
this when I was
any sort of familiar.
I
remember
you.
Batman taking off a chest piece and talking to Alfred about it.
I believe you.
I remember I could see it in my head.
Yeah.
The only thing I could think of is that it was the Superman animated series Nighttime, which is the crossover with Batman.
And here's that eternally dark, tragic, repetitive ending that works so well every time. That is Batman just returning to his duty,
just getting his grappling gun hook out.
And now I'll repeat the joke I said in episode 3, which was, okay, the movie's over. That was really sad, right? But think about it. Not for Batman. As far as he knows,
it was only sad
listen. As far as he knows, the Joker's gone until the next time he sees him, and he got laid. So it was a good week in the world of Bruce Wayne.
The girl he was supposed to marry is gone and may have gotten blown up.
That's why it's a joke. You don't need to tell that part.
I just Abe Vigoda.
Yep.
We got this sweet smooth jazz.
Walk out of the theater feeling good. So we didn't really break down this movie as we were watching it, but
yeah, we accomplished none of our goals.
But hey, we talked an awful lot about Batman.
Talk about what was going on.
Yeah,
at least sequence-wise.
Yeah, we talked an awful lot about Batman. This felt like a real commentary to me.
A commentary from a bunch of people who didn't actually work on the film, but know it really well.
But it's okay.
Well, that's what you're going to get out of a commentary of fans.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a fanentary. Oh man, who could forget the overseas animation supervisor, Rick Machin?
Whatever happened to that guy?
He's my favorite overseas animation
Myung
supervisor.
Ok-jun. Jung Tae-kyun.
And now for the next 3 minutes, we'll be making fun of names.
Well, this is really the part of the credits where it's just this is all the money we saved by sending it overseas.
This is kind of like one of the stills of credits from the opening of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's like, I don't believe these people are real.
Did they really need people for Xeroxing? It's like we just ran out of money, so we just started Xeroxing some of the backgrounds.
Ninja Park.
Ninja Park.
I'll meet you in Park.
Me suck you.
Oh my gosh, it's not even a joke.
Yeah. No way.
Dong suck.
Han shot first. Oh, wow.
That had to have been a joke.
Jin Sun.
No, that had to have been a joke.
Young Ho I'm.
Me suck you. That has to be a joke.
I don't
put in
Well,
there.
it's only a joke because it actually happens.
Oh, if you watch
Money Mugs.
if you watch the credits for Pulp Fiction, the guy
The
who's
coffee
manager,
shop?
Yeah, his name is Coffee Shop. I'm just a coffee shop.
So, I guess we've reached the end of this episode.
Sandusky.
So, sorry if we didn't. Hey,
This
Tia
song is
Carrere.
done by Tia. Oh my god!
I knew that.
Done by Wayne's girlfriend.
Yes.
Synthesist Hans Zimmer. That's real interesting.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Who went on to score the Nolan movies
And Metal Gear Solid 2.
and many other films.
He's very involved in like nerd culture, I'd say, as a composer.
And
It's kind of
just,
his bread and butter.
he's just one of those guys like Thomas Newton Howard, and just like he's just always working. He's on so many
Who
movies.
can't think of Thomas Newton Howard?
Okay.
No,
it's
I
funny
know that
'cause
name. I'm just
the
saying the
credits
common
for-
man would not.
The credits for our movie are going to be nowhere near as long because there's going to be like 40 people working
Can I
on
do
it
the end
tops.
song? It'll be called Alfred's Dead. Look away. Alfred's dead. Look away from that shit. 1993.
If Alfred dies in front of Batman, his last word should be, "I came in the macaroni," and then dies.
The coffee's in the cupboard.
I regret nothing.
I always hated you.
You look gay.
I never finished the laundry.
All right.
I never finished the wire.
And now the movie's starting again.
All right. So before this starts again, I'm going to sign off. Thank you for joining us on Project Batman episode 6, I think. So
So this has got to be like episode 8. We've been doing this.
no, this is 6. So
Can we not agree on an episode number?
Christian.
Fucking episode 28.
I'm Kenn Edwards.
No.
Ken Edwards. Vincent Ottobre.
Kenn
Sean.
Edwards. We'll all be Kenn Edwards today.
What did you need from me?
I was just saying, Christian, thank you for joining us. You were extremely delightful.
Thank you.
I try very hard.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Swear to me!